When I'm short of time, I like to spatchcock a chicken. That is to say, I take a small bird, turn it upside down and cut out the backbone and squash it flat. The expression spatchcock goes back to 18th century Ireland. A farmyard chicken was quickly dispatched, split, fried or grilled to provide a quick meal for an unexpected guest. Mine will go into a hot oven for about half an hour, having been spread generously with olive oil, crushed garlic, dried herbs and coarse sea salt, and of course some black pepper. A quick, warming and delicious meal. You can of course put any topping you like on the bird, and this method works really well for all small game birds as well as chickens. I always rinse my chickens when I bought them, just to get rid of any blood or anything that's inside the cavity that's been sitting around in the butcher's or the supermarket. And I also take out extra bits of fat that may be inside as well. Now turn the chicken over, and you can either use a stout pair of scissors or, better still, a really nice pair of poultry shears. Go in at the neck end, one side of the bone, and simply cut your way through. Then the same the other side. Now, open the bird out, turn it over again, and give it a really good push down with both hands till you hear a cracking noise and it's nice and flat. And take the shears again, or your scissors, and cut off the tips of each leg. These pieces can be used for chicken stock afterwards. Don't throw them away. Wing tips. Make sure it's all tidy. I usually cut off the bit of skin at the back just to tidy things up a bit. And I pop it onto a tray. I put a little bit of olive oil on first. I've lined my tray with tin foil, just because I like to. Then I pop the chicken on, pushing it down flat, and then rub plenty of oil onto the bird, all over, making sure it's covered everywhere, so that it doesn't catch in the oven. Use your fingers. There we are. Make sure the wing tips are well covered, because those are the bits that do tend to catch. Now I'm going to chop and crush garlic in salt. I've peeled a clove here and I'm just cutting it up very fine with my knife. As fine as possible. Now, wipe it carefully off the knife and my fingers, and add some fine sea salt over the top like that. And then using the side of my knife, I'm going to press it down until I get a fine, soft paste of salt and garlic. Doesn't take very long, it's quite simple. Just press it down and you'll see it changing. Pick it up and turn it over. Pick it up and turn it over. And gradually it becomes a nice soft paste, which is easy to spread. Right, off we go. Now with my fingers I'm just going to spread it across the skin like this. A bit more there, and a bit on the thighs and the leg. Just eke it out to cover. I mean, one big fat clove is enough, I think. Of course, use more if you want. There. So that's the garlic. Then I'm going to put on some dried herbs de Provence. They smell lovely. They're a mixture of summer herbs. It's too early for the garden herbs. I love using fresh tarragon, but I haven't any yet. It's too early in the year. So sprinkle generously all over. That. Perhaps a bit more. That's it. And then I follow that with freshly ground pepper, black pepper. I've put this in the coffee grinder actually to grind the peppercorns. They're much nicer if they're freshly ground. They lose their smell after a while and their intensity of flavour. Now, some coarse sea salt, which gives a lovely crunch to the skin. And then simply into a hot oven, about 200 degrees Celsius, for half an hour, maybe 40 minutes, until the skin is lovely and crispy on the top. Right, now in we go into a hot oven. I usually put on my timer. Now let's have a look. It's been in the oven 35 minutes. Oh, that looks about perfect. Right, I'll just make quite sure it's cooked through by testing it with a skewer to make sure the juices run clear. They do. If it's a tall pink, I would pop it back in the oven for another 5 minutes or so. Right. So now, on to the serving dish. Like that. I'll just spoon a little of the cooking juice, which is the olive oil and the juice from the chicken. Just a little bit of that over it. A tiny garnish. So here we are, the finished spatchcock chicken, dispatched in the farmyard and cooked for your unexpected guest in no time at all.